gas ourselves up, but we short on breath. Talking about we eating, but who we really cooking. Dreaming about greens, but ain't nobody looking. No land, no acres, no seeds in the ground. When the hunger hits, who's gonna be around? We starving every day, and it just ain't the food. Feeding the hood garbage, got 'em acting a fool. We flossing with rides, stunting with chains, but these bars we spitting just bring more pain. We guilty as hell, preaching all these lies, selling debt to the kids, and we acting surprised. We commercialize the pain, broadcast the grief, tell the youth to hustle, but hide the beef. We glorify the trap, invite them to the flames, just like Reagan brought the crack on planes. Back in the 80s when the streets got soaked, my people, my brothers, all got choked. Reagan said no trades, but we know the deal. He left us in the dirt, man, that shit was real. I was just a shorty watching it unfold, old enough to see how we got sold. War on drugs, but it was war on us. Cops on our necks, no love, no trust. They labeled us thugs, beast on the block, made us kiss the pavement while they cleaned our clock. Prison became business thanks to Reagan's game. Free labor's the truth in America's name. Slavery's dead, man. That's just a word. Read the 13th Amendment, it's still absurd. They lock us in cages, serving time for life. Double digits for wisdom, cutting sharp like a knife. I'm here to say, the chains in the air, it's time we break free, start showing we care. No more flexing for nothing, no more selling out. It's time to rise up, time to end. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And before we get all this started, I got Buddha Beats, and I'll be right back right after this.
I just wanna see your eyes in the moonlight. Run away, run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. I don't care for apologies. You want me, Graham, I know you watching me. All you do is be drunk and wanna argue. I'm not your boyfriend, I don't know who told you. I can't lie, baby, I just mistold you. Why you talking about them lies that they told you? I'ma give you back to the streets, yeah. I'ma keep everything a secret. When I said I ain't love you, I ain't mean it. You was running from your demons. Now you begging for forgiveness. I don't care though. That you was the one. Now you just a weirdo. I can't even talk with you. I talk to you. Talk to you. I just wanna know if you gonna change. Don't you ever go. Baby, can we run away? 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 Baby, can you feel my pain? You won't even look my way. I broke your heart a long time ago. I hurt you, but I just didn't know. No, 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 no. You just gotta tell me where you wanna be. Why you keep on arguing with me? So confused, I can't think straight. Reminiscing about the old days. No bitch, but I'm back to my old ways. Girl, you drive me crazy. Something like some road rage. Now you begging for forgiveness. I don't care no. That you was the one. I can't even fuck with you. Talk to you. Talk to you. I just wanna know if you gonna change. Don't you ever go. Baby, can we run away? 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 Baby, can we run away?
That was Buddha Beats and Runaway. I came across that yesterday on my Spotify playlist. It was some kind of playlist I was on, but that came up. It was independent music. I searched into it a little bit, and I enjoyed his little album or whatever. So I wanted to put his music out here. Um, Another one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was yesterday. They were in a committee hearing, and one of the things that they were talking about was House Files 3433 and 3402. Some things in there were said that I really do feel like people need to hear. So I want to get into that. And the first person, actually, this is about 30 minutes long, but to me, I felt like this was a very good interaction uh, that I feel like people need to hear and need to be involved. So, with that being said, here is yesterday's Committee on Public Safety.
Madam Chair and members of this committee, thank you. My name is Anna Leamy, Director of Government Relations and Advocacy for the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. We grieve with the families and the entire Annunciation community. Nothing we say here today diminishes that loss. The question before you is whether House File 3402 and House File 3433 will prevent the next attack, or whether they create new constitutional problems without delivering measurable safety gains. I would also like to address Governor Walz's comments that only the gun industry is testifying here today. We had national experts and everyday Minnesotans who were denied both the ability to speak here today as well as submitting written testimony over technicalities such as hyperlinks in their documents. One of these experts, Amy Swear, who is denying testimony, is here today with physical copies of her testimony full of data and facts available for you all. House File 3402 and House File 3433 also are a policy mismatch. Minnesota's 2024 homicide data shows 170 criminal homicide victims statewide. Rifles, all rifles, whether for hunting, target practice, or what you call an assault weapon, were used in 3 of those cases. Rifle homicides are rare. Annunciation itself involved multiple firearms, a rifle, a shotgun, and 2 handguns. Targeting one style of firearm solely based on cosmetic and ergonomic factors does not remove intent or prevent substitution. The deadliest attack on a school in our nation's history was not done with a firearm, it was done with a bomb. And the deadliest school shooting was done with 2 handguns, not a rifle. Even if prohibition somehow eliminated the things you're trying to ban, it would not keep our kids safe. Our communities deserve better than the partisan, symbolic measures offered here today. We can invest in measures that have broad bipartisan support, measures that intervene upstream long before any form of danger manifests. We respectfully urge you to oppose House File 3402 and House File 3433 and pursue solutions that are constitutional, practical, and demonstrably effective. Thank you.
Thanks for your testimony. And just for the record, the idea that there were some technicalities that didn't allow for letters to get submitted, I really resent that. These are the letters in opposition. These are the letters in support. My staff has worked around the clock over the weekend to make sure that these all got in there. It says very clearly on the website that hyperlinks aren't allowed and that PDFs should be submitted. So just to be clear. And we did have a little less time on your side than ours. And so the person that you mentioned, I'd be glad to have her testify right now if she has 2 minutes of testimony. And I don't remember who, Amy, I don't remember her name, so she can come up. And we did offer the other side to give us a list of names. And so we obviously, I'm sure every Annunciation family would have wanted the opportunity to testify here today as well. And so we gave the other side an opportunity for names. Please, welcome to the committee. Introduce yourself and begin your testimony.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Amy Swear. I'm a senior legal fellow at Advancing American Freedom. Let me start by saying the obvious thing in the room. In my 10 years of doing public policy on firearms, I have yet to meet a single person who is not on the same page that what happened at Annunciation, that what happened at many places around this country that these mass shootings are horrific. No child deserves to go to school feeling as though they are unsafe, and no parent should ever have to go through what these parents who have testified today have gone through. And this is such a significant issue that we need to actually tell them the truth and be honest with them about reality. And it's a hard truth. And the hard truth is that it would not have mattered one bit whether or not the individual who shot at their children had a pistol grip or not a pistol grip, whether they had a barrel shroud or not a barrel shroud. Because we're under some illusion that by banning pistol grips and barrel shrouds, somehow, when that same caliber of bullet is fired from the same length of barrel with the same muzzle velocity, that this somehow would have caused less carnage or less trauma or made these children any less injured. And it's a lie. It's a lie we continue to repeat. And we not only do that by the sort of delusion that it would have mattered, right? But we do so by then trying to pass laws that would, in return, scapegoat ordinary law-abiding Minnesotans and turn them into felons for possessing these firearms. The reality is the problem at Annunciation was not that this individual had a pistol grip or a barrel shroud. It is that this person, bent on any amount of carnage, had a firearm in the first place. And frankly, when we step back from this and you go through the data on multi-victim shootings in this state, and frankly in every other state, but particularly in this state, as I have done in the testimony that was rejected for hyperlinks, that I would like to point out, there have been submissions on the other side that were accepted with hyperlinks as well and were not rejected for that same technicality. When you go through that data, you see that Annunciation is unlike most multi-victim shootings in this state, which are perpetrated by individuals who are not law-abiding gun owners, but who are part of a small subset of repeat violent offenders who continue to get firearms despite being prohibited persons. And as I point out in that testimony, most of these individuals should have been in jail. The reason they weren't in jail was because of policies that allowed them to remain in the public, terrorizing ordinary law-abiding Minnesotans while they should have been in jail. These are things that we have to discuss if we are going to have honest conversations about this, because I agree with prior testimony. This is something that deserves to be grounded in reality. This is something that we have to have these hard conversations about. And so I do appreciate being able to have 2 minutes. I will leave it with this final statement. It is concerning to me that such a serious conversation as this one has been limited to 4 testifiers on each side. It deserves more discussion than that. Thank you.
Thank you. To our knowledge, all hyperlinks had been removed from the documents. People are human and make mistakes. This is an urgent situation that we need to address. If we had agreement to go later into the evening to hear more about that, it would be fine with me. Next, we are going to actually move to the bills. Representative Greenman, would you like to move that House File 3433 be re-referred to the Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law Committee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's my motion.
Representative Greenman, your bill is before us, and you do have an author's amendment. Would you like to move the A3 amendment to get the bill in the shape you'd like to present it in?
I would. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And if you could please explain that amendment to us.
Thank you.
There's another, it's coming up. So Walter is, hold on. All right.
Opposed? The A3 amendment is adopted. All right, now to the discussion of House File 3433 as amended. Representative Hudson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and this will apply to both the bills that were presented before us here today. So just to frame us in current events, last night Fox 9 reported that police confirmed Monday that they're investigating a double homicide. Suspect is a 24-year-old man who was recently released from jail after making bail on a gun possession and fleeing police case. Shortly after leaving jail, Chief O'Hara says that the suspect went to a family member's home and opened fire, killing 2 people ages 14 and 23 who are believed to be his cousins. That's what we're dealing with. That's the reality. I appreciate these bills being brought forward today because they give us the opportunity to draw two very important contrasts. The first is in how discussion has been taking place in other committees.
Not one person from the DFL side brought that sad situation up. They were more worried about Annunciation school shooting when we have things that happen. Gun violence happens every day in Minneapolis and bigger inner cities, and we're even seeing it come out to rural areas in greater Minnesota. So for me, it's like we're not honestly having real life conversations. And that's one thing that I do feel like we need to have. And even when it came to, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, whatever, it's just bullshit. But I think people really need to pay attention to this because yesterday there was Cedrick Frazier came out with to me, it was some bogus ass shit. And it shows me that we already have fraud in a program that there shouldn't be any because we're already past that. Why are we doing new programs and there's already fraud? But not only that, you'll hear Cedrick Frazier come out and say that protesters were using this paid family medical leave program and they were tear gassed or they were hit by rubber bullets. So honestly, we're paying people who get injured for protesting. That's wild. That's pretty wild to me. And it's like, to me, that's not what that's for.
To the public. I think we have seen applications that have been tied to.
One question I do have, we've had some federal agents in the state recently. We've seen video, we've seen statements and interviews, but we've seen how there's been chemical munitions used on some folks that have been out exercising their First Amendment rights, and we know that those cause harm and damage. So my question to you, and I know you may not have the answer to this right now, and it may be a lag in it, but have you seen any of that in terms of applications that are coming out, those types of actions being the reason for folks needing to access this program?
Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the question, Representative Frazier. And I'll maybe ask Director Norfleet just to provide a couple brief details. But the short answer to your question is yes. As would any circumstance that causes injury or harm to the public, I think we have seen applications that have been tied to some of the violence that we saw in the as a result of Operation Metro Surge. I think we, as you would expect, if people have suffered serious injury, that is, I guess it's not unexpected. It's certainly, it's
Yes, there does.
that is, I think, one benefit of having this program is that people who have been seriously injured now have the ability to receive, take time to care. And I don't know if there's any additional details you might provide.
That's wild to me that we are paying for people to.
One question I do have.
Take time off and then use paid family medical leave. And that is actually for people whose families have medical emergencies. And now we're using it for people who are protesting. To me, that's wild. And we really need to have an honest conversation about this. And I know a lot of people don't, but we do. There is so much going on right now in the state of Minnesota. Even I was listening this morning, they had it wasn't a fraud, it was some kind of finance committee or whatever, but there was a lot of things that came up. I'm even going to talk about that tomorrow because I already was, even though I do want to talk about some of that today, because a lot of it, there were good questions asked on both sides to opt them to the director or whatever of DHS. And to me, those are questions that people are asking in the open and to the public and aren't being answered. And they're not just Republican questions. It's also questions coming from the DFL. And I'm really starting to notice that you have Democratic lawmakers who are getting frustrated by not only Walz, but his administration, because they're not really being transparent. They're not being truthful. It's more like people are hiding shit. People are fabricating new documents. They're not even doing the checks that they need to be doing on these businesses that are supposedly helping people in poor communities. Is that a failure? To me, I'm going to be honest, that's a failure all the way around. Not only just the governor, but also representatives, senators, because this my thing of it is, right? Elections have consequences. And I know a lot of people are maybe don't like Trump, but I can tell you this, we would not be seeing about the fraud if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz became president and vice president, because a lot of the shit that's coming out is because of them. All this ICE shit is because of when Kamala was the border czar, whatever they want to call it. We had an open border. We had an open border. And then you got to look at the fraud. Everything that was supposed to help poor people didn't. It helped the community. This is the thing that I really don't understand. And I really would like people to, I don't know, give your comments or your thoughts. But to me, it's like, how could so many people stand by, and a lot of people didn't say nothing. They didn't say anything. A lot of people just stood by and were quiet. They stood by and just looked the other way. There was a lot of that. And that's what's really, really, really crazy to me. Because even when you see about feeding our future and all that shit, you can still see, just until last month, some of these businesses were still open, these daycares, these autism centers, these supposed to be medical transportation companies who were billing in people's name, no matter if they were dead, didn't matter if they were alive, they didn't get those services. But we still build Medicaid, we still build DHS, we still build the state of Minnesota, and they still paid it. So let me get into this of, they were just open not even that long ago. So to me, it's like, where's the accountability? Because I'm hearing a lot of fingers being pointed, but there isn't nobody taking accountability. And there's definitely isn't taking people that are taking responsibility.
In court filings, a FBI special agent says Fahima Muhammad is facing 1 count of wire fraud. FBI investigators say Muhammad operated a food site called Future Leaders Early Learning Center. The child care center in question was licensed until late last month, and federal court documents show Muhammad notified the state she would close the daycare last Tuesday.
56-page report, which he titled The Roadmap to Fraud Prevention, includes excerpts from legislative auditor reports going back into the 1970s. Multiple state agencies across.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course it helps you, because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, you remember the Feeding Our Future fraud that we were talking about so much last year? Over $250 million stolen from the state of Minnesota by people who were faking like they were serving tens of thousands of kids meals during the COVID pandemic, and none of the Minnesota authorities were even going out to check on this. They were just giving them money hand over fist. Well, you might have thought that fraud was over. You might have thought, yeah, that happened in the past, and now we're just trying to figure out who committed the fraud and hopefully put them behind bars. A lot of people think that high ups in Minnesota might have had something to do with it, like your girl, Ilhan Omar, or even Governor Tim Walz. But y'all, what you will be surprised to find out is that the 79th person has been arrested. That's 79 people who have been arrested. And one of these people was operating her business till just last week, y'all. Check this out.
Another person has been charged in connection with the $250 million Feeding Our Future fraud scheme.
Fahima Mahmood is the first person charged since the mass departures of federal prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Minnesota. Our So-Young Kim dug into the criminal complaint, and So-Young, this would be the 79th person charged now in the scheme, which exploited child nutrition programs.
So yeah, y'all, as I said in the intro, this business was operating until just last week. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they were getting Feeding Our Future money until last week, but the business was open until just last week.
That's right, and according to the Minnesota Department of Human Services website, the child care center in question was licensed until late last month. And federal court documents show Mohammed notified the state she would close the daycare last Tuesday. She was arrested last Thursday before she was scheduled to take an international flight. A 79th person is facing allegations in connection with the widespread Feeding Our Future fraud scheme, according to a newly unsealed criminal complaint. In court filings, a FBI special agent says Fahima Mohammed is facing 1 count of wire fraud. FBI investigators say Mohammed operated a food site called Future Leaders Early Learning Center. This site was also featured in a viral video that thrust Minnesota child care centers back into the spotlight in December.
So here you have the 79th person arrested under the Feeding Our Future fraud scam, y'all. That doesn't mean that's the 79th person who was involved. That just means that's the 79th person who was arrested. And the business was open until, was it just last week or just last month? And these people were allowed to steal over $250 million. You have to ask yourself, if these businesses are still open.
Work today is broken. Every day, people juggle so many different tools
is the fraud still continuing now?
According to court records, Mohammed incorporated the center in 2015. In 2018, Mohammed signed a sponsor transfer request to be under Feeding Our Future. Investigators say starting in December 2020, claims ballooned. And by February 2021, Future Leaders claimed to serve nearly 60,000 meals to children monthly. Evidence also from February 2021 shows email communications between Amy Bach, the ringleader behind the fraud scheme, and Feeding Our Future staff member concerning Mohammed's request to, quote, increase from 500 to 1,000. In response, Bach wrote, quote, just let her. Court filings also cite forensic analysis that indicates during the period in question between December 2020 to July 2021, the Future Leaders bank account received more than $850,000 in reimbursements for serving meals to children.
Now, this is the craziest thing of all of this, y'all. She was arrested and then she was released on her own recognizance. Now, do you remember earlier when the report said that she was caught right as she was gonna board a plane, or she had planned a trip to leave the States? So they arrest her and then they release her on her own recognizance, y'all. This is kind of wild.
And earlier today, a federal judge granted her release from federal custody on her own recognizance. Live in studio tonight, So-Young Kim, Fox 9.
Now, Minnesota is trying to clamp down on the fraud, y'all. Would you be surprised to learn that a recent report just released within the last few days says that Minnesota has been a hotbed for fraud, apparently going all the way back to the 1970s, y'all?
Stronger prevention measures should have been taken. Repeatedly, plans were put in place but not executed effectively.
Tim O'Malley's 56-page report, which he titled The Roadmap to Fraud Prevention, includes excerpts from legislative auditor reports going back into the 1970s, multiple state agencies across multiple administrations from both parties, and repeated findings of poor oversight of state-funded services, but never fixed.
Historically, we've seen well-intended people say, oh, here's the legislative auditor's report, here's what we're going to try and do. And plans were put in place, work groups were formed, legislation was passed, yet here we are today. It didn't work.
So yeah, y'all, going back to the 1970s, Minnesota has been a hotbed for fraud, apparently. And I guess that it has been going all the way up until last Tuesday. It's hard to take this response seriously, y'all. I mean, I know it's serious, but I mean, this is just last Tuesday. You catch her when she's about to board a plane or she has a plane ticket and you're like, woo, we got to go get her. You go get her, you arrest her, process her, and you're like, now, we're gonna let you now. We're gonna let you go. You're not gonna go hop on a plane. You wouldn't be about to flee the country, would you?
It's crazy.
Anyway, y'all, let me know. What do you think? What do you think is gonna happen? Do you think number 80 will be caught? Do you think this will hit 100? We're only 21 people away from 100 at this point, y'all. Let me know, y'all. Drop a comment down below. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button. Share this video out over email, text message.
For a second, man. I'm sorry. Everything I just froze up and lost everything. I don't know what just happened. Let me get back into. Said my computer was locked up. Oh, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to play that shit again. All right, I'll go to the Secretary of Speech last night. I don't know what the hell happened. So I'll go back to that.
And she found her lying dead at the Christmas parade, but she never arrived. Her mother, Jacqueline, went home to look for her, and she found her lying dead in a bathtub, bleeding profusely after being stabbed 25 times. Lizbeth's killer was a previously arrested illegal alien who had broken in and brutally extinguished the brightest light in her family's life, violently and viciously. Her heartbroken mother is in the gallery to remind everyone in this chamber exactly why we are deporting illegal alien criminals to our country at record numbers, and we're getting them the hell out of here fast. We don't want them. Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Thank you. We can never forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. The only thing standing between Americans and a wide open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you. As we speak, Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It's all cut off. It's all cut off. They have instituted another Democrat shutdown, the first one costing us 2 points on GDP. 2 points we lost on GDP, which probably made them quite happy, actually. Now they have closed the agency responsible for protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight I'm demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security, homeland security of the United States, and also for helping people clean up their snow. We have no money because of the Democrats, and it would be nice, we'd love to give you a hand at cleaning it up, but you gave no money. Nobody's getting paid. It's a shame. So you have to think about it. We have, in case you didn't know, a pretty large snowstorm out there. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.